Okay, we're recording. So let me just split the screen. There we go. So that's gallery view. I think that's a bit better. So you can both see us on screen at the same time. So just talking about nutrition and the way that we feel, the way that whatever we put into our bodies, both from a physical aspect, so from your food, versus the psychological input, so things like what we watch on the news, etc. So I don't know how you feel about this, Dan, but what do you feel that is the biggest influences that we've got in from a let's go with nutrition first. So from a physical input, what sort of inputs do you find it affects you? Do you find food affects you or not?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, when I look at my food now, it's a lot better than what it was uh, 10 years ago. Where I could say I was influenced in the wrong way when it comes down to food, just purely for advertising. I always remember being like sucked into. Remember Subway sandwiches? They had
Yeah,
Mo
Subway,
Farah.
foot long.
Yeah, that's it. The foot long. Yeah,
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
Mo Farah. I think he's the 10,000 meter sprinter, isn't he? He was on advertising these Subway sandwiches, and you link him with the food straight away. You
Yeah,
think, well, if he's eating it, it must be good for
yeah.
everybody else. Yeah, it's only when I realised through the Guaranteed Fitness days that if you need to advertise a product to you, you probably don't need it. That was probably some of the best advice I took from them, and it was stuff like the food that doesn't get advertised is the stuff that's best for you.
It's the boring stuff, isn't it? It's the broccoli, it's the cabbage. I've never seen leeks advertised.
No, you won't do that, will you? I think the advertise themselves. I think it depends on how you've been brought up as well. I mean, if you've been brought up to eat these foods or there's nothing else, then you're going to learn to enjoy them, aren't you?
Yeah, I think you've got a really good point there. So, in terms of advertising, do vegetables get advertised? I don't think they do. I think processed vegetables get advertised, i.e., the stuff that you buy like pre-frozen, and you whack them in a microwave and whatnot. And I don't know what the nutritional value is of something fresh versus frozen, but I've always been a big believer in anything that's processed in any way, shape, or form is less valuable than the actual raw ingredient itself. That's kind of the way that I look at things. Interesting you should say about the shopping. Going back to when we were training together and at the same club, was I remember someone saying, I may have been something that I'd thought of, but I'm sure someone said it too, was that the more dull and boring your shopping basket looks, the more healthy it is. So if you've got a basket full of greens and meats and things, it's relatively bland colours. There's not a lot sort of subliminally jumping out at you in terms of eat me now, I'll make you feel better. Whereas if you compare that to a shopping basket full of, I don't know, turkey Twizzlers and chips and chocolate, snacks, food on the go stuff, the colours are brighter. There's a lot more vibrant, sort of appealing nature towards that packaging,
Yeah.
versus your dull chicken, your dull vegetables, your dull spices, or whatever that may be. And I thought that was really interesting at the time, and I still to this day, when I go out to the shops, which is quite rarely at the minute, but when I do go out to the supermarket, I always have a quick look at what's on the conveyor in front of me. I'm thinking, oh, they're pretty healthy, natural yogurt and lots of veg, and they've got a bagel, so they treat themselves with a bit of carbs every now and again. Whereas the person behind me might be like, it's just a family-sized pack of crisps and Coke and God knows what else on there. So it's really interesting that you say that, because I'm of the same opinion. But you know, let's go into like how the food that we eat, ultimately it goes into this very fine-tuned engine, which is our bodies, which is our transportation. You know, how does that affect you? Because I know what it does to me, but have you got as well? Have you had any experiences of, you know, sort of binge eating on, I don't know, crisps and chocolate and feeling like shit the next day, or?
Yeah, all before I went to Guarantee Fitness. I mean, my daily, it's weird because people ask me after that transformation there, like, how did you do it? And I said it was just getting rid of the stuff I used to eat. And I look back now to my average day was probably getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and having a bowl of cereal, which at the time I thought was a good thing to have. Obviously, then I used to go into the city centre every day on like a certain duty at work, and I'd get a 20-minute layover, so I'd go and get a bacon and egg parm at 7 o'clock in the morning. So before most people are out of bed, I've already had 2 meals, and then it'd get to say 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I'd be finding a cafe for some, whether it was a sandwich or some kind of like small fry up or whatever. And then 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was eating sandwiches, crisps, Mars bar, and then going at 5, half 5. Something with chips most nights, whether it was egg or sausage or something like that. Then I'd be in the pub watching the footy till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and then go home with a kebab or a pizza or something at the end. And then that seemed to just happen over and over again.
Yeah.
For probably months. When I look back on it now. And I do look back, and I was always tired. I was waking up groggy in the morning. I was drinking Red Bull throughout the day as well, quite a lot. So I used obviously the advertising again with the Red Bull that gave me all these ideas that I'd have energy
Gives
from
you
it.
wings.
And all that.
Yeah, apparently it gives you wings.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it sent me to the toilet more than anything else, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it was a horrible way to live when I look back. It was only when I seen a photograph of myself on a holiday. I was looking through them with a mate. I said, "Who's that?" He said, "That's you." And I thought, "Nah, I need to sort something out here. Like, I can't." I was getting really big. I was about 19 stone at one point. And it was just shocking, really. But I fell for all that advertisement in the first place. I felt, yeah, I did. I felt horrible. It was only when I started eating stuff like omelettes. Jolly recommended quite well. Like omelettes with spinach in them and mushroom. They're having like chicken fajitas, stuff like that. Still like all right food. It was better nutritionally than what I was eating before.
Yeah.
And then just found if you to eat proper, I'd call them proper meals like omelettes and stuff like that now. I found that if you have one of them, you can go 5 or 6 hours without being hungry again. And if you are hungry, I was stocking up on almond nuts, cashew nuts. I think we got recommended 6 food types when I was there, and it was basically meat, fish, veg, nuts, fruit, and seeds. And if you place your diet around those 6 things, you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And within the 6 months of being at transformation and eating that like that, it was incredible. When I look back now, how much better I felt.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the same time, it was just take your mind away from the advertisement companies, and you'll feel a lot better. And it sounds simple, like, but
I know it sounds really simple, and I suppose a lot of the advertising messages that are really subtle really, really subtle. So if you think about Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola adverts are really, really clever. So I mean, I don't like mentioning names, or I'm not endorsing any sort of food companies, etc. But Coca-Cola is really clever because at Christmas it doesn't say go out and drink Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It doesn't say buy this and it'll make you feel good. It just plays pictures of people drinking Coke, enjoying themselves, that family feel. I mean, who doesn't know about the Coke Christmas advert? And a lot of people used to say, "Oh, it's not Christmas until you see the Coca-Cola truck on TV and different things like that." And it's subconscious emotional attachment. So it's what they call an anchor thought. It relates to people feeling secure, less stressed, etc. And they're really, really clever. They spend millions and millions of pounds doing these things, and yet they've not said go out and buy our product. They've not said that. It's about connecting the emotional attachment. I think that's really, really interesting. And until you start to break it down and start to learn a bit more about it, you soak all these things in. You soak all these things in, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be food. It can be anything. You soak all these things in, and companies spend millions and millions of pounds on advertisement for a reason, don't they? They said they spend it for a reason because they get it back in return. So yeah, I mean, there's a really good point there that says, until you started to educate yourself about it or know more about the subject, then I wasn't aware about all these different things. And food on the go is, I always thought, I'm the same as you, I always thought food on the go was really difficult to prepare, or you just had to be a little bit more organized. That's all it was. It's just about thinking ahead. What was I going to have an omelette for lunch or for my tea? And if I was really short of time, I could break all the eggs first thing in the morning when I might have had 5-10 minutes spare. Do you know what I mean? And doing different things like that just to kind of speed things up. But interesting, you mentioned about eating windows as well. Currently, I stick to, or try and stick to, as close to as a 16/8. So I fast for 16 hours and I eat in the 8-hour window. Why do I do that? Because I've found that since I've been doing it, I'm much more alert. I feel a lot more engaged with processing information and different bits of literature, that things that might be a book that I'm reading, or a course that I'm doing online at the minute. And I find I'm absorbing that a lot better because of my basically the 16/8 just controls your insulin spike. So when you eat, your insulin spikes rockets right up. Your body's then digesting the food, and eventually your insulin level starts to sort of flatten out. But whilst you're in this spike, you can get that kind of groggy feeling, that kebab feeling that you were having on the next morning. And it's a horrible feeling. I think we've all had it. It's food hangover, food coma, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, I've had various different experiences with food and different types of food. Red Bull, I stay away from caffeine now. I don't drink coffee, for example. I had a bad experience on Red Bull. I think I had 2 cans of Red Bull and ended up with palpitations for about 3 days, so there was obviously an effect there. I'm not saying it was always the Red Bull, but it could have been the Red Bull started something. It dropped me to a point where I was noticing my body more. And then all of a sudden, my body and my anxious brain took over. And boom, all of a sudden, you've got a perfect storm of this then continues. It's not it's not then the food, it's
Yeah.
then your anxious brain that takes over and lets it continue. So I have a huge correlation between the food that you put in versus kind of what you get out, if that makes sense. Is there, I mean, from your side, have you in more recent times, because I know obviously we're not now, we're not at the gym or anything like that in recent times. I mean, how have you found it during lockdown, for example?
Yeah, to be fair, I've done pretty well. I've always kept weights at home since we were at that place. So I can do like suitcase deadlifts, lunges, squats, all that kind of thing, whenever I want, which is pretty good. When I get up early some mornings, I'll have half an hour on the floor just doing some bits, and so the exercise bit has always been there. If that makes sense. I mean, I'm not running all the time and not like that, but but when it comes to food, I've not had cereal since. I've not had cereal for 7 years now. At all.
What do you eat in the morning then? What do you eat? Because I'm fascinated by people's habits and stuff.
I mix it up between porridge. Probably have porridge 4 or 5 times a week with like cranberries, blueberries, that kind of thing on top of it. Never add any sugar to it. Just put like almond milk or oat milk.
Yeah.
And other times I'll grill some bacon and have scrambled egg with bacon. And then throw a bit of spinach on the side of it, or rocket, mushrooms. Yeah, grill mushrooms quite a lot as well now.
Yeah.
I tried to not have bread. That's one of them where I do enjoy it. That's my weak spot, the bread. When I look at it now,
it is with me, and I think also with having little ones in the house, and it is hard. It's hard, that relationship with food that you have. Little one will have dippy egg and soldiers. What are the soldiers? The soldiers are always bread, or there's some sort of carbohydrate. And I don't think that's bad in any way, having bread there. What we do is keep a loaf in the freezer. So number one, it lasts
for as long as you want.
20, 30 times longer than what it would do if it was out on the top. And number two, it actually helps you control the portion. So, if I want a couple of slices of toast, I have to fight with the knife and separate it all up before I can actually put it in the toaster. And then by the time I've done that, I'm like, I don't really fancy it anymore. But it's that kind of thing. Whereas if the loaf's out on the side, you'd quite happily probably have 4 slices and think nothing of it as a snack. And that's like 4 slices, and then before you know it, half the loaf's gone. So I'm absolutely 100% there with you with the bread. I mean, my body loves carbs, and I tend to, if I'm going to eat anything now, I tend to have like a seeded wrap, for maybe lunch or something that I take to work. But an alternative to bread is sourdough. So you could have sourdough, for example.
Yeah, I've never tried that.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's not full fat bread, is what I'd call it, but it's okay. So yeah, I mean, people looking for alternatives to bread and saying, "Oh, I can never give up bread." Have a look at there's like spelt bread. There's just different alternatives that are not as processed, I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, it depends. Well, I mean, I've through the lockdown, I've been using a bakery in Buxton quite a lot, and Mycock's Butcher's been up there quite a lot as well.
Yeah,
and when the fruit and veg man comes on a Tuesday and a Saturday, I get up to see him as well every week. Just try and just live around them 3 places at the minute. I mean, I've not been in a supermarket for a year now.
No.
Well, Morrison's. I've used Aldi every now and then for tin stuff.
Yeah.
Like tin tomatoes, kidney beans, tackle beans, that kind of thing. But yeah, I used to make I made like a big cottage pie. and then fry broccoli in it and use sweet potato on the top rather than regular potatoes.
And that's a great alternative. Great alternative.
Yeah, and then throw some carrots in there, mushroom. I just batch cook it like once a week. I'll make a big tray, so I'd have like 6 or 7 portions in there, and then just trim them all down, freeze them all, and then take one to work with me every day and use that. I found that you're eating the same thing over and over again, and then I found another thing to do was get like a tortilla wrap, just put tomato puree on top of it, and then throw some ham and mushroom on that, bit of mozzarella on top, so it's like a healthy pizza.
Yeah.
So I just want I'm trying to make a healthy version of one. Just bang it under the grill in the oven for 5 minutes. At that.
Yeah, yeah.
Comes out
It's
nice and crispy.
It's a lot quicker as well, isn't it? It's a lot quicker than a normal pizza.
Regular pizza, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a prep time, isn't it? Just taking 10 minutes to prep it.
Absolutely. And going back to what I said before, you can have all your eggs prepped and you can break all the shells on a Sunday. I wouldn't do it for the full week, but I'd probably do it for like Monday, Tuesday, so I might do maybe 12 eggs for the next couple of days and, save time that way. So literally if I'm making an omelette or I don't know, whatever it may be, you can literally just pour a third of the mixture in at a time and there you go. You've got what you need. It is about forward thinking. So I know I've had certain situations where I haven't had a lot of freezer space, for example, and I haven't had the luxury of being able to put 10 or 7 meals in the freezer, in the containers. So I haven't had that luxury. So it's been a case of like, well, what could I do? What won't go off in a few days, and being able to sort of do it like that. So rice, for example, is a prime one. You get a good few days out of rice. You always have to make sure that you heat it up properly, of course, because it can be a bit of a bug hop spot, as they say. But yeah, as long as it's warmed up properly, and then you can cook some chicken, some grilled chicken, slice that up, throw it in, and then cook your broccoli fresh, which then you've got like 3-4 days of good, solid, consistent meals there, which is really, really easy. It just takes that little bit of forward thinking to plan out and prep. But I'm with you on the on the side of things where you look at things in a different way. So like them food groups that you spoke about, so the fish and the meats, seeds, really, really important. There's a definite correlation for me personally, definite correlation between, feeling good or great versus feeling unwell, bloated, miserable, tired, lethargic. There's a definite correlation there. Water intake. How do you find water intake?
That's all I drink now, that and coffee.
Yeah.
Just water and coffee, mate, non-stop.
Yeah.
I didn't touch coffee till about 3 years ago.
Right.
When I was in Derby Hospital,
yeah.
And they had nothing else, so I had to have coffee. And I just took it. I thought, go on, got it down me, and I started then just testing myself more and more. When I got home, I thought I'll have, and now I'm up onto like 6, strength number 6, and the coffee is like so. I have it dark and intense now, so I've gone from like enjoying it to give me the strongest you can give me.
Yeah, espresso style.
Yeah, I mean, I really got into it quite a lot when I was the coaches, and I needed it for driving all through the night and all that. And I've tried to come off it in the last year or so. I'm still finding myself having 2 cups of it a day, which is better than Red Bull.
But I mean, at the end of the day, everyone has their go-to foods or go-to drinks or whatever that may be. I mean, I've never ever been into carbonated drinks. I've never drank sort of pop, Coke, lemonade, anything like that. I like carbonated water. Call me strange. I'm one of them people that'll order sparkling water if I'm having a meal out or whatever. But I'll happily drink still water. But that tends to be what I drink. What I'm not very good at is the consistency of drinking water. So what I find is, especially with this 16-8 cycle, is that I'm supposed to drink water continuously, little sips, 8-9 glasses a day, something like that. Some days I'm routined and I do it, and I feel fantastic. The next day I'll probably have a sip of water, or I'll have a cup of tea, and then that's it. And then I'm thinking, oh, why do I feel a little bit, why do I feel a little bit off? Well, there's reason behind everything, isn't there? And that's one of the biggest reasons. So I think to anything, it's consistency as well. I don't know about you, but if I'm not consistent, it does disrupt me. It does disrupt me a bit.
Yeah, I feel like that. I noticed it a lot more when I started drinking, like a bottle of wine or a few beers, whatever, the night before. And the next day, I just got up groggy, like I'm not in the mood. I mean, I don't know what it is. I had a few drinks on Friday. I woke up on Saturday, probably more energised than I felt for a long time, to be honest. And I think it's because I might have not had a drink for a few months. So when I do have one, it gives you that boost. But by the afternoon, I was back to a bit, not bad, but
yeah.
I could easily fall into that trap at that point and think, right, I'm going to order a pizza. Just become lazy. Really, that's what I found drinks doing to me. It makes me become lazy.
Yeah.
So I just make sure. Like I've started taking like a big bottle of water with me everywhere I go now in my bag. So I've always got water throughout the day.
Yeah.
I have a bottle by my bed at night. So I wake up middle of the night, I've got something fresh there.
Yeah.
Most nights, I'll sit and I've got a glass here with some lemon in it.
Yeah.
Just sliced the lemon up, dropped it in. Found the alkali off the lemon's pretty good. Just washes out any acidic build up, really.
Yeah.
And then I have mint leaves as well. I've started drinking mint leaves.
Okay. Yeah.
That just helps you pass things through a bit smoother. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's consistency. Yeah, it's coming back to that, isn't it? I always make sure I've got water in the house. I can't remember last time I didn't have 2 or 3 big bottles. Like if I notice I'm down to 2 or 3 left, I'll go and get another 4-pack.
Yeah.
So I've always got one. It's the eating really. That's the hardest bit. Drinking water's no problem. It's just staying off the little snacky things like the crisps and all that.
Yeah.
And that comes in fancy advertisement wrappers. You just. No, it's when you went back to before about the emotional connection. It all makes sense with the McDonald's, M and the Archers. I mean, I read a book on the Fast Food Nation a couple of years ago. And it's based on the American fast food industry and how it's become global in the space of probably 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
To the point where you can be in the middle of Thailand now on an isolated island and there's a Mackey's there.
Yeah. I mean, there is. Yeah. All your branded stuff is definitely there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all over the show, and it came back to when they were designing it. They wanted to put this M, like a big golden M, up in the sky. You could spot it from 20, 30 miles away on the motorway or on the highway, and then as soon as you see that M, your emotional connection makes you just wait. I'm going to be going there. The closer you get to it as well, you can't not go past it when you've got kids in the car.
Yeah,
if they see that, they're pestering you. Get in. And you only have to go back to the Happy Meal. I think most people remember when they first had one of them, and it creates that emotional connection because you're given a toy with your food, and you just link that to a good time. So you're going for the good time rather than how quickly they process the food.
Yeah.
Put it in your mouth as quick as they can.
Yeah.
And then move you on and get you're on a conveyor belt, aren't you? In places.
Yeah, yeah. It's all very closely linked to the emotional attachment with that almost that family scenario. There's numerous companies that do a similar sort of thing, in very similar ways. The brand itself is, the McDonald's brand is worth probably billions, I would have said. Yeah. Although, to buy a franchise of McDonald's in the UK, to open up a franchise, you have to have significant financial backing as well as financial upfront, physical cash to be able to purchase one of these franchise. So, there's no, not that I'm slating McDonald's, because I think everything has a place. Everything has a place within society. If people had a bit more understanding around food and what the outcomes of bad food versus good food versus, just sustainable food has, then I think that people would be able to make a lot better decisions for themselves. There's a reason why people eat fast food 7 days a week, because like you touched on before, it's that family upbringing. Perhaps they have known nothing different in their lives, and therefore to have a pizza on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and curry over the weekend, or Chinese, is the norm. I certainly went through a phase where I ate a hell of a lot of fast food, perhaps 3 times a week, where you think to yourself, God, what was I doing? And like you said, it's only till you look in the mirror and go, you've put on a few love handles, or whatever that may be. But I do feel like all food has a part to play, and I think you should enjoy food. I don't think food should be just there as a mechanism, as an energy cell to fuel your body. So I think me and my wife were having a conversation the other night, and she said, she'd been watching a TV program or something, and there was a guy there who'd been in the army, and basically said, I just see food as fuel, and I'll only eat the fuel that I want to eat, and nothing else. And I think that's, in one way, that's quite sad, because food can tell a story. Food can, remind you of when you're on holiday with the family. I had some great times with parents while, camping in this country, where, we'd have like a barbecue, or we'd have some food or whatever. A lot of my childhood memories is where we've had family meals or get-togethers where there's been food involved. So I don't think bad food or fast food or takeaway food it has a part to play in people's lives. And I think it's just the fact that people miss out on the, what does it do, or if I eat this, what's the effect later in life. I know Matt always used to say, one McDonald's won't make you fat, just like one salad won't make you thin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's really poignant, isn't it? Because it's just about going back to that bloody word, consistency. If we are consistent in what we eat, then, have a McDonald's once in a while. It won't do anything. It won't have any dramatic impact on you. It'll make you feel good. You'll have a nice time with it. But then you need to then go back into what is the normality. So yeah, I think there's so much I've got so many happy memories of family gatherings and meals out, takeaways, whatever you want to call it, around food. And if we just looked at food as a fuel cell and, you know, really had a real disciplined outlook about food, none of them memories would exist, which would be a real shame, a real shame. But yeah, I think part of this video tonight is just having a discussion about food and what the side effects are, but also maybe a bit of education for people wanting to know, you know, a bit more about how to prep in advance, or, you know, thinking about different ways of the outlook on what they're eating, and the struggles as well, because, you know, I struggle with food. I struggle with the sweet side of food, you know, so I'll always choose something sweet rather than savory. You know, you might be the opposite. But I know the choice that I have to make. I know if I eat this, then I'll get that. But if I eat this, I'm going to feel better. Ultimately, you know, I probably won't gain any weight, etc., etc. So I think people just need a little bit of education, and you know, that's what I feel. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it depends who's doing the educating, really. Whether it's what their agenda is as well. I mean, they're trying to.
Yeah, it has to be unbiased. It has to be unbiased. It has to be, you know, real life opinion, I suppose.
Yeah, and you can only get that from experience of what you go through yourself, or what people you know have been through. I mean, I wouldn't trust an advertising company now with nothing. Like, every time I see something pop up on the TV now, I'm questioning it. What are they trying to sell me? Why are they trying to sell me it? You know, there's an agenda behind everything I found. Apart from when you speak to people, you know, that's when you know there's no agenda there. They're just being completely honest with you about what they've experienced and what they see from it as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just gone blank now on the question.
No, it's I was just, you know, sort of saying association with food, and obviously people looking at this video and sort of saying, well, you know, educate me a bit more, or vice versa. So going back to some things that we learned whilst we were, you know, doing this kind of transformation at the gym and different things like that. One salad won't make you thin, just like one McDonald's won't make you fat, and that consistent balance of eating healthily. Education from a point of unbiased, so we shouldn't, you know, shouldn't have a bias towards anything, because we're two mates, we're just chatting, we're not paid by anyone to have these conversations. From an education point of view, you know, if you have 100 calories in a chocolate bar or 100 calories in broccoli, you know, people say, oh, you know, I only eat so many calories. I think bullshit, but don't calorie count. You know, to me, it's one of the worst things for me that you can do, because, you know, you can go and have a Mars bar. I don't know what they are, maybe 200-300 calories, or you can go and fill yourself up with nutritional greens and chicken and whatever at 200-300 calories. Ultimately, the inside of your body is going to respect the nutritional value of vegetables, meat, rather than the sugary, glucosey, fatty substance of a chocolate Mars bar. So I think that education bit has to play a role in what people understand as well. From, you know, if people say, oh yeah, you know, I'm on 1,000 calorie diet, well, what the fuck does that look like? It's like, what's that, 5 Mars bars? So you're telling me you eat 5 Mars bars a day and you stay within your limit, and that's you done for the day. I wouldn't like to see your specimens after a few days of that. You know what I mean? So
it could be weeks and months of that.
Yeah, but But that's the education bit, isn't it? You know, where people literally take the literal information, and they will always, people will always go back to that survival instinct. Oh, you know, what makes me feel good, or what's it? Well, Mars bar makes me feel really good. So if I have 5 Mars bars, not going to have 6, I'm going to have 5 Mars bars. That'll make me feel really good. I'll stick within me 1,000-calorie limit, or whatever that may be, and I'll just do that for a few weeks and see if I lose any pounds. You know what I mean? And then lo and behold, you've got the duplicate other person that's doing 1,000 calories but feeding themselves with nutritional, you know, keeping hydrated, you know, broccoli, vegetables, fresh meat, etc., etc. And then all of a sudden, you know, you turn around and look at each other at the end of the exercise and go, well, I didn't cheat. You know, I ate 1,000 calories and neither did this person. And they're two very different, you know, physical appearances even after a few weeks. So education for me is a big part in the food side of things.
Yeah, and obviously removing the emotional connection. If you can remove that away, then, you know, you've got to, in your own way, try and make it cool in your own head to sit and eat some broccoli and eat some chicken and eat some rice. And it's just, it comes down to your own mental strength then.
It does, yeah.
It can be so easy to just cave. You know, if someone cuts you up at the traffic lights, for example, or whatever, you could just have that moment of rage where you just, I need something to comfort me now. And when you're in that moment, you've had a long day at work, the last thing you want to do is go home and eat broccoli. Right? You're going to go home and you're going to think,
crack the Stella open and whatever.
Yeah, drive past 20 chippies on the way home. I'm
Yeah.
going to stop at one of them. Do you know what I mean? You're going to be driving past nothing thinking, nah, I'll leave these, I'll go and have my broccoli at home. It's so hard not to cave.
Yeah.
But again, that
really
does come down to education. And you know, it depends where your education finishes and where it starts as well. I can't remember anything in school, anything at all about calorie intake, you know, what foods have got the best calories. I mean, that comes down to good parenting, really. They put on your plate what you need. And I look back and I gave my mum quite a hard time as a kid because I was very fussy. I'm not eating that, it's green. You know, that kind of attitude. It's only now I look, I get some of the old pictures out and show Josh when I'm trying to feed him. And to be fair, I mean, he eats pretty much anything I put in front of him. He's not fussy like I used to be. And, you know, it comes down to, just persevering with it. You know, understanding what's good for you and going with that. The other thing, is to not let the emotional side come into it, because that's where comfort eating comes in then.
Yeah, and it's quite easy. You know, it's quite easy to, you know, to smash a pack of crisps or a tube of Pringles. You know, I think we've all been there with Pringles. They're just they're awkwardly in this bloody tube that you can't get your hand in. So it's almost like the success of being able to get some crisps in your hand is an emotional kind of, you know, I've won the gold medal. I've managed to pull these fucking crisps out of this tube, and I've managed to eat them. And you know what? And now I've eaten them, I want some more, so I'm going to go in for some more. And then you're battling with this bloody tube, and in the end, you're like, like this, trying to gobble them all up. So you're absolutely spot on there. A good point you make about family upbringing. I used to absolutely spit me dummy out at my parents because my mum always used to like home make stuff, you know. And I can remember she used to home make beef burgers. So she used to have like this press, and I didn't understand it at the time because I was only young, and I was like, I'm not eating that. I was like, why? It's homemade. It's good for you. No, I'm not eating that. My mates have Bird's Eye, whatever. You know, they have processed burgers. I want processed burgers. And she was like, no. And she used to, you know, explain a little bit and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, no, I want the processed stuff. And then now I'm like, no, won't touch the processed stuff. It's like, it's got to be like trying to make it a little bit more natural. But it's a phenomenal subject. I think that we could probably be here all night talking about different elements of food and whatnot. But for the people who are watching this and who have managed to stick with us for the sort of 45 minutes that we've been going for, if there's anything that people want to explore in a kind of, you know, I'm not sure about this, or I'm not sure about that, if you drop myself or Dan a message, then, you know, we're happy to help. We've both been there. We've both looked in the mirror and gone, oh shit, you know, there's a tad more love handle there than what I'd like there to be. I think we all have these insecurities that are really important to challenge as well, and basically say, you know, love who you are, but if you're feeling a bit down, depressed, tired, lethargic, you know, change something up. You did, you know, you changed something up. I changed something up, and ultimately then you saw a different side to the story. But again, from your side, Dan, I think we've had a good conversation tonight. It's been another interesting sort of conversation between two lads, two friends. But that's how this is kind of panning out, which is really nice, and it's nice to bounce things off you and vice versa. Is there anything from your side that you want to add, or?
Just feed yourself good food, and then you'll feed yourself good thoughts as well. But it's all right to have, you know, the odd little takeaway, that kind of thing, and you know, you're always going to have negative thoughts as well. You can't escape either of them, really. But yeah, it's just about just being, again, it's the tipping scales, just balancing out. Yeah, if you can be consistent, keep eating good stuff, and I found you don't even really have to exercise for hours on end. I think 20 minutes a day. Interval training, really. Quick bursts of, not heavy weights, but, you know, just a couple little things, just little things like that to keep going.
There's plenty out there as well, isn't there? There's plenty out there in terms of, you know, whether you like Joe Wicks or not, or whether you like the fast, hard kind of insanity kind of motivational videos. There's so much free content. You don't have to have a personal trainer. It doesn't have to cost you 20 quid an hour. This is free content, which is phenomenal these days on YouTube, that you can pick up, and you can learn an awful lot as well from these kind of, you know, PTs that have gone online, essentially giving away their time for free.
Yeah, the insanity stuff, mate, I tried that, and that's for pros. That insanity. I wouldn't even go down that route. Definitely not to begin with.
No,
that's something you work towards after probably 12 weeks of you know, normal behaviour.
I mean, no, it is, you know, it's whatever level you're at and whatever stage you're at of the journey that you're at as well. Once you start on this journey, you find that you never really stop. It's just about tweaking things here, there, and everywhere. Hence why right now I'm doing 16/8 cycle, because at this moment in time it suits me, it suits my body, suits my mental state. That's not to say in X amount of weeks' time it's going to be the same effect, because it probably won't. So it's whatever ticks all the boxes for you right now. You know, you said you do HIIT in the morning, or, you know, or when you come back from work. That's working for you now. It might not always work for you, but it's about the tweaking that you do along the way, along that journey.
going to ask about your fasting then. So what time frame are you sitting in there like?
So I have an app. Let me just find out what it. I think it's called like Fastit or something like that. Hang on 1 second. Fastic, FASTIC. It's a free app, so I don't pay for it. Literally, you can choose. There's so many different levels on there. You can kind of do beginner, where you do shorter periods of fasting, longer windows for eating. Intermediate, which is like the 16/8. You can then go on to like your pro kind of scales, but the pro side isn't maintainable. You know, you wouldn't do that on a week in, week out basis. It's just too harsh on your body. But from an intermediate side, the 16/8 works for me. If I finish eating early, for example, if I finish eating early around about 5:30 in the evening, then, you know, I just press fast. It calculates all the hours and all the water intake, etc., etc., and then it gives me a time of when I can eat the next day. So I don't even have to think about anything. It does it all for me. If you choose to have the notifications on, it will also ping you a notification. So yeah, that's, you know, I thought I would try it because I wasn't suffering. Suffering's the wrong word, but I was conscious of trying to do more whilst in lockdown, because obviously gyms have been shut, and I was getting out on the bike, but it wasn't regular. I was going out for runs, but again, that wasn't consistent enough, and I wanted to try and tweak the diet rather than the exercise. So I knew if I'd controlled the diet better, the exercise would come at the same time, you know. So that's the reason for doing it. No other motivation than kind of just trying to feel better and feel good, and you know, be at peace with myself a bit more as well.
Yeah, well, obviously meditating helps out, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's down to that one word, consistency. You know, it will always come back to consistency.
So how did you find it first then, going from 5:30 at night till what would be 9:30 in the morning then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, not too bad. The only thing I did is just cut out breakfast. So I was having breakfast sort of 6 a.m. Because I get up normally around about 5:30, having breakfast at 6 a.m. So I just cut that out. What I'm finding is that I need to take on the water more, which would help. Yeah. But that will come. That will just come with forming habits. So, you know, I'm not too concerned about that. But yeah, no, I found it okay, actually. Yeah, I found it really, really helpful. Really helpful.
I might have a look at that then, that fasting. I've never. Yeah. So when you're talking there, it just made me realise I'm eating from like 6 in the morning till probably 9:30, 10 at night, all throughout the day. But I'm just snacking on like a half bag of almonds or something, piece of fruit, and then I'll have my porridge. And then like usually I take like a chicken, a tuna pasta or a mackerel pasta, a boiled egg, bit of spinach, bit of broccoli in it, and then every evening I can then eat what I want, really. Steak and chips, egg and chips, burger and chips, whatever. Just get the sweet potatoes, peeling them up and just banging them in the oven.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have a look at that fasting then. That won't be good. That won't be a bad idea. Finishing food at 6 o'clock at night and not eating again till 10 the next morning. Yeah. It sounds impossible right now, but
it soon goes. It soon goes, and it feels quite good. Quite natural kind of cycle. It doesn't feel forced.
When would you fit your workout in then? When would you work out around that?
So normally my workouts are in AM. So I would get up at maybe a little bit earlier, maybe at 5, go out for a run or a cycle, then come back, shower, change, ready for work, and then go into work for about 6:30. So yeah, AM workouts, always AM workouts.
Yeah. And then obviously you eat after that, yeah.
Yeah, I'd still keep to the sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Eating window, to start the 8 hours. Because what you find then is if you always bring it forward, you're always bringing forward the fasting window as well. So I find it easier to prolong the fast in the AM than what I do to prolong the eating window side of things. So yeah, I mean, it's whatever works for you. It's whatever works for you.
It's just games, isn't it, with your own head? It's got to be at that point.
Yeah.
Which is it sounds like torture in a way, but it's obviously some kind of reward to it as well.
No. There's nothing torturous about it. There's nothing. And at the end of the day, you can start off with a smaller fasting window and a larger eating window. So it's
you got like 16 hours eating, 8 hours off.
Yeah. I mean, you could do, but 16 hours eating window is a big chunk, But you could reduce it.
That sounds alright for me.
You could do 10-14, for example, or whatever that works out at. But for the purposes of someone listening to this, I think that if it's something that they've never done, have a look into it. The app that I told you about is free. It's you can pay for. Of course, you can always pay for an upgrade, but you don't need to. So yeah, have a look at it and see what you're feeling.
Yeah, so probably recommend like a 12-12 then. That'll probably be a good start.
Yeah. Just start it off even Stevens and then just work your way from there. Just chip an hour off a week or every couple of weeks and see where you end up at.
Yeah. I might have a crack on that and start in the next couple of days. Yeah.
But definitely, certainly AM, I feel a lot more switched on. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll finish it there.
Call it there,
yeah. I'll just obviously I'll just plug the Man in the Mirror and obviously the work that we're trying to or the reach out that we're trying to get. So if anyone wants to know more, contact us on Man in the Mirror. Have a look at the videos that are on there. The videos that I'm doing with Dan now are going to be consistent going forward. So, and again, if you are feeling a little alone or anxious, depressed, reach out, send us a message. We're two normal guys. We're not pretentious in any way, shape or form. We don't judge. And certainly if anyone needs any help, then don't be afraid to reach out to us. So that's all for us tonight. Thank you, Dan.